Second Number. I'm Anna.
I'm Sophia.
And today we're going to be talking about The Season by Sarah MacLean.
This is future Anna and Sophia because we forgot one crucial detail.
The covers.
Now, I would just like to state that the original first edition cover is absolute perfection. The dresses are so accurate to the book. Like, this is accurate to the time period. All of the models are accurate. They have their iconic dresses on from their first season ball. And Alex is super tall and she stands out. And she's not afraid to look at you. She is defiant.
Okay. You're taking this so seriously. Here's what I have to say. I think it's a nice cover. I think it's pretty accurate for the book. It's just nice. It's sweet. The costumes are accurate, but they're not stunning or anything. The hairdo, on the other hand, that's good. I think the models are great. I think they're accurate. I do think Alex's glance over the shoulder, it's not really a glance. It's more like I'm gonna mess you up. But I think it works. I think it's good. I think the cover's a little boring, but I sure as fuck like it better than the next one.
What is this monster? Who is this person? This person is dainty and tiny and demure. She is not tall like Alex. And what is this dress? This dress is not even time period accurate. I don't understand. And do not even get me started on the audiobook cover. What is that monstrosity? Oh my god.
What is the hair? That's my question for this audiobook. Also, both of them, horrible costumes. They both went with green for the dress. It makes me rethink that she does have a green dress. Does she have a green dress?
Yes. The original cover, she is wearing her iconic greenish blue teal dress or whatever.
That is fucking blue. Fight me. Comment in the... You leave a comment because I'm right and Anna's wrong. That's in no way green or teal. That's blue.
It's green.
We're gonna have words.
A rich emerald silk, the perfect color to highlight her bronze complexion, green eyes, and auburn hair. But, see, the thing is, she has her auburn hair. That is correct. But then the redo, it's bright red, and then in the audiobook, it's brown. I don't understand, and I'm very upset.
They're bad. Let's leave it at that. First book cover is nice. It's accurate. It conveys pretty well what you're going to get with this book. The next two, let's not.
I think that the redo for the cover, not the audiobook, but for the book, the second edition, like it's trying to look more like an adult romance novel. Like it's trying for that feel.
Here's the thing, though. Alex without anyone is no one. Let's go back to our book review. Bye.
Bye.
We're reviewing The Season today because
The Season is a great introduction to historical romance, especially if you aren't ready for any serious, love scenes, because it's clean. It's just...
We both
PG,
don't like that word, but it's PG-13.
Yeah, it's PG-13. And it was the first historical romance novel that MacLean wrote, but it was...
it's the first historical romance novel I read.
Yes.
I read it when I was 9.
My friend and I read it because it was a recommended reading list book going into 7th grade, and we both liked it so much that we had one copy that we would trade back and forth between us. And at one point in time, my friend actually memorized word for word the last chapter.
We decided that since we wanted to review historical romance novels, it seemed fairly fitting to start with the first one we both read. Granted, the last time I'd read it, I was 9 years old, and Anna was 12.
I'd reread it later on when I was in high school.
I had not. We're gonna give a quick non-spoiler review.
Mm-hmm.
Anna, list the pros.
Very sweet characters, very interesting side characters. They all have their own depths, and you can believe in them, and you want a sequel for them.
We will never get a sequel, by the way. Never.
So, our heroine and main character...
We didn't list the cons.
Oh, okay.
Guys, I was 9 years old when I read this book. I obviously reread it. And rereading it made me realize a lot of the cons to the book. Here's the thing. I still have a lot of love for this book, but look, I don't think I could hand this book to a lot of people and expect to get them to come back for more. Because I think, unfortunately, a lot of the book, it reads more like a novella that just is strung out so far along because there isn't the sexual tension. Granted, MacLean writes really good romance and she has a really good plot, but the plot is pretty two-dimensional and it's not super exciting. But this is a debut novel, and I think considering that, it's pretty phenomenal. That said, I don't think this is a book you can take pretty seriously. I think this is a book you kind of have to be like, I'm turning off my brain. I am turning off my brain and I'm here to have a fun time, because it is like rereading it, I was like, I need to stop thinking and analyzing, which isn't really what you want when you're here to review a book. Our heroine is Alexandra Stafford. She's only 17. I understand that this is her first season. That said, being 18, reading about a 17-year-old, falling in love with a 23-year-old, it's kind of like...
You can't put today's standards on historical books and characters because, obviously things were done differently.
I'm aware.
So Alexandra, or Alex, is the youngest child and the only daughter of
the
Duke and Duchess Wakefield, and she has 3 older brothers. The only one that matters is the oldest one, and he works in the War Office.
Yeah. That brings us to our hero and love interest. This is Gavin Sewell. He's a baron or some shit, like I care.
He's an earl. He has newly inherited the title from his father, who has died under mysterious circumstances. I don't know why. He died. He legit died. He didn't die.
It's not like he's
not just floating around somewhere.
No, he's not gonna come back.
Yeah,
he's dead, and Gavin's only remaining family is his uncle Lucian,
who's come in to help him through this grieving time.
Yeah, and then Alex. We were supposed to mention Alex's family. We forgot. Okay, we've got 2 sidekicks, Ella and Vivi. They're adorable, they're great. Once again, this book really did do a good job of setting you up for more books, because these sidekicks are really good, well-fleshed characters.
Yes,
you would have
really
wanted
like them
to read their books.
And
But
at some points you like
happening.
them more than the main characters, a little bit.
I straight up do. Okay, we've got Penelope Grayson, we've got Freddie Stanhope, who is MVP of the entire book. Love him so much.
Yeah.
Then there's a baron.
Yes, French baron.
Oh, Alex has got a maid named
Eliza.
Never shows up past this one chapter, but poor Eliza suffers like... Alright guys, so we've listed off our pros, our cons. Honest pros are that it's really sweet, really well written. It does a great job of setting you up for what this universe kind of entails, or this setting, not universe. My cons are that it feels heavy-handed, it's pretty slow reading, like it's hard to absorb it as fast as... It was tough. Like, I don't want to hate on it, but I'm gonna hate on it when it's time to go over the plot.
Okay, my overall feelings for this book, I do have, a tint of nostalgia over it. I really think it does a good job of introducing, the setting, and I do love the characters, but, there was just something missing for me on the reread. But would I give this...
It's called sex.
Okay. Would I give this to younger readers to read?
Absolutely.
It does it so well, and you love the characters, and you don't worry about it being too mature for younger readers.
Yeah, I 10 out of 10 agree with that. This is probably the best book I could have started out with at 9 years old to read for historical romance novels, okay? I wholeheartedly agree with that. At the same time, I don't really recommend this for people who have already read historical romance novels, because I don't think it's something you can take seriously and actually enjoy. Not unless you're somebody who prefers PG-13 romance, because that is a thing. If that is the case, good for you. This is probably a book that's going to fit your criteria, because it does have a sweet romance. It's got a good plot line. I think it can be a little two-dimensional and fall a little flat in certain areas. I think there's definite pacing issues.
Okay, so how we're rating the series is we're rating it by romance, plot, characters, world building, and a good ending. And then we're averaging those scores out to get the percentages. So my ratings for romance was a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 just because there wasn't as much tension as I felt like there could be. You know, it wasn't really steamy or anything. It was cute. It was cute, but there needed to be steam is the thing. Plot?
For the plot, I rated it a 3 out of 5.
I rated it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and you know, I think it deserves that. I think it's a good enough plot. It's not terrible. Like, I never hated it. And
That's true.
And when I first read it, you know, it was so new and it was exciting.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. So,
Characters.
For characters, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I gave the characters a 4 out of 5 as well. I think they're the highlight of this book for a debut novel. She did a really good job of establishing
Yeah,
that.
it felt almost a little bit like an ensemble cast.
Exactly. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think that's because there isn't any smut in this book. It's because you have to have this, otherwise...
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
form a connection between the reader to have them interested enough.
Alright, now
For world building, I gave it a 5 out of 5.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 5 out of 5 because it explains everything and you're not lost. And you know what's happening between the aristocracy.
I give it a 4 out of 5 because I think Anna does, she explained, MacLean explained everything really cleanly. She gave simple explanations, she had good characters, but that said, like, I didn't think the world building was 5 out of 5 for me. It wasn't like, this is a great world that I'm wholly invested in. It's like, no, the characters are cute, it's all really sweet, but it's not a 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay, I think you're basing it off of more of, like, how interesting and immersive the world building is.
Elizabeth Hoyt,
Okay.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
but
now
for the
we're
purpose
on-
of this book,
Yeah.
So now we're rating our good ending. And I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was very fulfilling at the time that I first read it, and I thought it was really cute.
I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. And the reason for that is because I think the ending is too abrupt. It comes together all at once. They're like her realizing first off, the romance literally happens at the tail end, her realizing she's in love, tail end, then the actual climax. Like, don't get me wrong, the ending is for a climax. That's the entire point of it. But that said, it felt too rushed. It literally happened within the last 2 chapters. Everything all at once. It was like a never-ending train wreck. It was too much for me. And then it was kind of like, okay, we're done. And I was kind of like, thank God. Yeah. Yeah. When I said Anna will be the pros and I will be the cons, I meant that. Overall, Anna gave it an 80% approval rating, and I had a 66% approval rating. Now, do you stand by that? You think it's an 8 out of 10 for a book?
For the purpose of explaining, like, being a good stepping stone, yes, but I cannot compare this to the other books because it would be less than than even MacLean's other books, let alone, like, other authors.
Yeah, as a book to hand to somebody, I stand by my 66 approval rating. I think it's a good book. It's not something I'm in love with, but it is something I think people can really enjoy.
If this is a book that you read when you're younger, it will foster a love of historical romance novels, and you'll end up like this. So that is the end of our spoiler-free review.
Now, if you want to hear our explanations for why we feel this way, feel free to stick along for the rest of the video because we're going to go pretty in-depth as we explain what happens in the plot. The book begins with, like, this setting where this mysterious figure who we don't know, he's on this estate and it's rainy and he's about to go to the cliffs and he's essentially like, it's the perfect weather for an accident. Then we go and we meet our heroine, Alex, and Alex is getting a dress fitting. This is where we get a very quick summary of what the season is, how this world is set up, yada yada yada. We meet her friends, we meet our hero and love interest Gavin, and we see her brothers.
And it does a really good job of introducing this all very subtly, and it's not ham-fisted. In my opinion.
In my opinion, no. And if you're really into the book, I think it can work. For me, it straight up did not. We have a quick run through from Gavin's perspective. Should we explain who these characters kind of are? Here's the thing, guys.
Alex is a little bit of a brat.
She's spoiled. She's spoiled.
And she thinks thinks she's the exception of every societal rule.
Yeah.
Where it's a little bit...
It's
annoying. Gavin, our hero and love interest, he's pretty simple. He's a steadfast dude. He's a sexy, steadfast dude. He is like nothing's going off. Like, I'm trying to describe it, but I'm like,
You're like trying to be
brown
the
hair.
He's blonde.
Whoops. I forgot that.
He's blonde and he has gray eyes and he has big broad shoulders.
That's what matters to Alex. And he's so sad.
Yes,
he's sad because like his dad dies. Literally after we're introduced to all these characters, it cuts
Alex
to Gavin.
is just like, you know, you need to cheer up. And Gavin's just like, you seriously do not understand the gravity of this.
My dad's dead. After we are introduced to all the characters, we then go to Gavin, and he's at his house. He's like shooting pool
with Alex's brothers, and he
like gets emo.
He does.
He gets real emo, and everybody's like, whoa, and he's like, I'm joking. There's no real trauma here.
Well, what he's talking about is he gets a letter saying that his father's death was declared an accident, and his gut reaction is that it's not, that he was murdered.
Yeah, because any other option would be like, Gavin, you're dumb.
Because we know this already. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this, but in the very beginning, the first scene with Gavin when he's talking to her brothers, and Kit, one of Alex's youngest older brothers, he's just like, it's so cool that you have this house. And then the older brother's just like, his dad's dead, bro.
Yeah, his dad's dead. It's like, don't mention that. He got it because his dad died. Bad taste. That's why Gavin was so emo about it. He's like,
my dad's dead.
Cool.
Anyways.
Love that. Anyways.
We'll just like edit that back to there. So we see Gavin, or Lord Blackmore.
We're calling him Gavin. I don't fuck around with titles.
Well, largely for most of the book, he's referred to as Blackmore.
Gavin.
Okay, I get it. Blackmore has his emo moment, and then we go to Alex's first ball.
Oh, Alex has this whole spiel where her maid is literally like readying her for this uber elegant,
and she's complaining about how hard her life is to the working class man.
I'm surprised Eliza doesn't murder Alex, but she doesn't because Alex gets to Almax, which is where she has her debut. It's a thing, the book explains it, it never matters.
Okay, so she's hiding with her friends Ella and Vivi, and she sees across the crowded room a stranger, she thinks. She notices his blonde hair and broad shoulders and goes, I know everybody in society. Who is that? And then he turns around and it's
Blackmore. And like I know earlier I was like, I don't mess around with titles. I only mention it because this is the first time she thinks of him as Blackmore, and you're like, Alex? Hello? Because she's like, what's going on?
She's like, things have changed.
So she sees him across the room, and then he goes to her, and they dance, and they're dancing, and then he dances with another girl named Penelope, and she's
and
like...
Alex is just like, who is this bitch? The thing is, she doesn't like Penelope because Penelope is self-centered and vain, and and selfish and mean.
Explain to me how that's not Alex. No, I'm kidding. Alex isn't mean. But at the same time, we never see those characteristics portrayed by Penelope either.
Yes.
Like, if Penelope has ever seen it, like, if Penelope is like, I want to dance with all the people, it's like, yeah, that's what you're here for, Alex. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make her a bad person.
Yeah, it doesn't make her a bad person for wanting to get married in a society where that's the only important thing she can do.
There's also a baron, a French baron. Oh,
and he's introduced.
We forgot to mention this is during like Napoleonic times.
Oh, yes.
That's important, y'all.
This is happening in, I think, 1812 or 1814.
Something like that. Napoleon's on the run.
Yes, Napoleon is on the run.
Napoleon is gone, so like there's this French baron, so it's kind of like, huh.
Yeah, he's a French noble who escaped France to avoid the guillotine.
I think she gets. Does she dance? She dances with Freddie.
Yes.
She dances with Freddie. Stan. my boy. Freddie is this character who is described as this rakish fellow, and he's like all kinds of trouble, and everybody's like, Alex,
You shouldn't dance with him.
And Alex is like, I dance with whom I like. Alex just dances with Freddie because that's her choice.
And also because Gavin's a little bit uppity and he's like, you shouldn't do that. And she's like, well, fuck you then.
Yeah, she is. Because here's the thing. She's also grown up with Freddie the same way she has with Gavin. So she's kind of like, fuck you. And it's the next morning and she comes down from breakfast. Once again, such a privileged life. She wakes up, it's the middle of the day, she comes down to breakfast, the entire room
is filled with flowers.
Yeah.
Her mother has had to send them away to different rooms and houses just to get them.
There are like 40 people, there are 40 in this one room, and her mother is like, you have to pick someone. And Alex is going through all of them, and she's like, this one sucks, this one also sucks. And then Gavin shows up because that's the thing they do because they live right next door, and Gavin is like eating breakfast for them. And we have been hearing all the arguments as to why Alex can't possibly be with any of these guys, but then Gavin starts presenting these straight up facts, and Alex is like, what? No. Fuck you.
Yeah, she's just like,
don't tell me what I know. Don't tell me what I know.
It's just like, I'm not being a jerk. It's just like, you're too good for them.
There's a quote, and I'm gonna read it. The quote is, you're too vibrant for them, too strong. You have a sharp mind and an exciting personality and an unexpected sense of humor. If these men were half the man you deserve, they would have already recognized all of those things and they would be romancing you accordingly. They would be working to intrigue and amuse and inspire you, just as you do them. And they would know that only when they have won your mind will they even have a chance at winning your heart. The room felt much warmer all of a sudden, and Alex resisted the urge to fan herself, trying to ignore the rapid increase in her pulse as color flooded her cheeks. Girl, me too! The fuck? That's a really great line. I just want to say this though, if Gavin, like the first time Gavin did Gavin spend all night thinking these things about Alex where he's like, oh my god, she's amazing? Because it's like, how do you just have that off the top of your head, Alex? Is this thinking you apply to every woman?
Subconscious emotion.
Subconscious? She's 17! He should not be having subconscious emotions at 23 and she's 17.
Look, Sophia, you can't think that way for the entirety of the book or else it doesn't work. Let that go. Let it go. Here's the moment, and you're letting it go. So then, Gavin suggests that he take her out for an outing because it will be the one outing she's supposed to go on. Yeah, that's
like her mom dictated her to do, and her mom like didn't. I don't know. Anyways, they go on this outing. They go riding through Hyde Park. Mm-hmm. It's a park. Anyways, they run into this one lady, and Alex is herself, and this lady is like, time to go, because apparently Alex is too much, and she rides off, and Alex brings that up where she's like, I need to censor myself more, and Gavin is like, what? Don't censor yourself, you're great. And Alex is like, no, if I want to be accepted by society, I have to censor myself.
Which is ironic because she was talking about not wanting to be accepted by society and living by these rules, so...
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And Gavin is kind of like, that's not true, and she brings up Penelope, and she's kind of like, people want this,
and it's proof that it works on you. And she does make a good point. She's just like, you're just as shallow as they are, but she does it while dragging Penelope down, and Gavin takes offense to it, as he kind of should, because what Alex said was really catty and really bitchy.
There's a quote in there where when she says all of this about Penelope, Gavin is literally like, you do her a disservice. Like, he straight up says that.
He's just like, I'm not gonna stand for this, and that's a good point.
And she apologizes, he accepts the apology. He's like, you are a little right, because I am and was immediately drawn to the beauty of Penelope. And that's nice to hear. At which point we see Freddie, my boy, ride up, and he's kind of flirting. He's
straight up flirting with Alex, and they're talking,
like,
and we
should go do a thing, and Alex is like, you're right, we should do a thing, and she accepts, and no. They don't ride off. Gavin just like hightails it.
As they are saying goodbye, and as Freddie's about to kiss Alex on the hand, Gavin just starts the carriage and just rides off. And Alex is just like, that was rude. And he's like, he was rude. He's talking to a girl I'm on a date with. And she's like, we're not on an actual date.
He's like, you should stay away from Stanhope because he's not marriage material.
And she's just like, I'm not getting married.
Yeah, literally, she's like, I'm not getting married. We're allowed to be friends. You can't talk to me like that. Bye. It's a different day.
scene, new scene.
They're having a picnic with Alex, Ella, Vivi, and Alex's brothers. They're having a conversation, and Freddie is here.
And then who comes strolling in?
Now, this is where they get,
Gavin comes strolling in with Penelope on his arm as they're walking through the park, and Alex is feeling some feelings about it. Gavin is he's cold to Freddie, even though they were friends before all
and Freddie's
this.
probably like, but dude.
What it does show is a cute moment where it shows Ella showing her drawings to Freddie.
Yeah.
And that's a little cute moment.
Alex somehow ends up.
Alex sees the Baron.
And she goes and greets him. Oh my god, right.
Yeah, she sees the Baron and she...
There's like a moment where he's like, who are all these people? And she goes into mass detail and then she asks about Blackmore.
She unloads on him, and even she knows. She's like, "That's too much." She explains what's happening with Gavin, and she's like, "He's feeling intense emotional turmoil, and all he has is his uncle." And then the Baron is just like, "His uncle?" And he's like, "I have to leave." And she's just like, "What's happening?"
And then I think Freddie takes her home. I think Freddie takes her home
because Gavin's just like, "You can't do that," and she's like, "I'll do whatever the fuck I want."
Yeah. And she goes home. There's a dinner party, and it's hosted by her parents. It's like time for dinner, and Alex is like, rules, etiquette, lost, forgotten.
Yeah, she like completely has complete blank, and she's like, who am I supposed to be escorted by? What's happening?
And Gavin is just like
standing there.
They enter together, and they're seated, and she's having a good time, and she's like,
oh my gosh, these people are talking about things that matter.
Then she meets up with her two friends, Ella and Vivi, in like this music room, and they're like, this is so exciting, life is full of pleasure. And Gavin interrupts them because Gavin is like, Alex, your mom doesn't want you only talking to these two, even though Alex has literally only been talking to other people the whole evening. Blackmore interrupts them, Ella and Vivi fuck right off. Gavin and Alex are kind of having this conversation near the balcony, at which point they see Lucian is with the Baron, and they're kind of like, They're talking about their parents. Mm-hmm. And she mentions his dad, or he mentions his dad. Somehow his dad is mentioned. He's like, I don't know if I'm the man he would want me to be. Once again, all Gavin has going for him is that he's emo. He's just like, I don't know if I'm the man my father would want me to be, or if I could even be half the man he was. And Alex is like, he would be so proud of you. And there's like a very intense moment where they're gonna be like, do we kiss? Mm-hmm. Just almost kiss, because she's like, your dad would be so proud of you. And they're like, this close to a kiss, and then Gavin is like, nope. And then it's 7 days later,
and Alex is pissed off. She's just like, quit toying with me, either kiss me or don't. And she's not sure whether or not she wants to be kissed by him.
And Gavin is going to be her chaperone to a dance because her brothers don't want to do it. Now it's 16 days past the kiss,
and Gavin hasn't mentioned it. He hasn't talked to Alex.
The first time they see each other again is when he picks her up to chaperone her.
And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna be dressed in a bomb-ass dress. And she has, like...
cleavage.
Like, the ladies are out.
He's chaperoning her to this dance. She dances with... No. They have a dance.
Yeah, they have a dance, and she's about to leave him mid-dance.
Right.
Mid-waltz or whatever. And he's just like, no, you do not. You're going to ruin both of our reputations.
Dance does end. She's like, oh, that was real dumb. That was real dumb. She finds Ella and Vivi, and she has like a midlife crisis even though she's only 17, at which point she accepts a dance from Freddie, and when they're finishing up this dance, Gavin appears and is all like, you shouldn't have been dancing with him. And
they have this, like, they have this argument in front of Freddie. He's just like, you shouldn't be, like near balconies or whatever. Like, and then she's like, he's not the one I should be worried about balconies with. And Freddie's just like... And Gavin, like, walks away, and Freddie's just like,
you shouldn't say those things! Even though
you should have said that.
Freddie is the rake, but Freddie is the only one who actually seems to give a fuck about reputation. Freddie's like...
Freddie is so...
This is why I love him. And Alex, like, goes outside and inks around in the back... Like,
in the
garden or something.
And then she sees Ella,
and she's like,
run out of the garden.
Why is somebody else out here? Oh, I'm supposed to angst out here. And then Ella... is like, you scared me. And Ella's like,
I just saw a tense conversation between the French Baron and Gavin's uncle.
No, it's not between Lucian.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Ella is a novelist, so she's like thinking about all of these crazy explanations.
And Alex is like, you're high. Stop it. She's like, you need to go home. Literally. And then they go back, so then when they go back inside, Gavin is like, I'm done. Let's go home.
And then she's like, fine, bitch.
Then they get back. She goes home, and her parents have waited up for her, and they're all like, how was the ball? And Alex is like, oh, it was fun, but Gavin was a little bitch. And they're like, that doesn't sound like Gavin. Why was he a little bitch? And Alex is like, well, it's because I was a little bitch. And they're like, well, Alex, you were a little bitch. And it goes back and forth exactly like that. Somebody is like knocking on the door, or the butler is like, somebody's here. They're like, who is here? It's the middle of the night. And then it's Gavin. And Gavin's like,
I've been robbed.
At which point, I'm pretty sure it cuts back to our spy, or the like hooded figure. He's a spy, y'all. He's a spy. He's a spy.
Yeah, and he's getting
like, I
anxious
don't
and
know
nervous
what-
because
yeah.
he's like, because the French don't trust him anymore because
He killed a dude.
yeah, and they're just like, that was unnecessary, and also you need to find the information that made that dude suspect you, and
He's
we're
like, I don't know how
patience.
much Gavin knows.
Yeah, and they're like, they don't trust him because he's an English traitor, so they're like, why would you be loyal to us? You're betraying your country, so we automatically don't trust you.
Yeah. So then after our spy, we go back to Alex, and she's waited up in the library for Gavin and her dad, and her mom has also waited up for her, and then they hear the door opening, and her mom goes off to talk to them, and her mom is all like, Gavin, you should stay the night because somebody just robbed your place. And Gavin is like, I will accept that invitation because somebody robbed my house. And so then Gavin comes up, and Alex is like, hello, in the library. She's like, I was wrong. Are you okay? And there's like this very... They make up, essentially. They're both like, we were assholes. We were both little bitches. They apologize. They kiss. And then Gavin is like...
He walks her to her door, and
Yes.
then they go to bed, and she thinks about the kid.
They don't go to bed. She goes to bed.
Yeah.
And he goes to bed, but there's no they in bed. It's separate. Okay, Alex is with Vivi and Ellen. She tells them about the robbery, and then she tells them about the kiss, and it's a whole thing, and there's a ball that's going on, and they're getting ready for it, and Vivi is like, do you want this to be a thing? And Alex is like, I don't know, I just like the kisses. And she's like, my brain just stops working, which is how most romance novels work. Ella is like, okay, so you kissed. What does that mean? But also, why is he around Penelope? Like, a lot. And Alex is like, what? What?
Yeah, he shows up to the ball with Penelope, and
Or he doesn't show up with her, but
he
like,
dances with her a ton.
then she has a dance with Gavin, and Gavin's already like, I forgot about that bitch. She's gone. Bye. And they're having a dance, and then she drags him out into a balcony, and they're all salty, 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 and he's like, the kiss shouldn't have happened, and she's like,
Yeah, he's like, it was a mistake.
or Ella or Vivi, one of them comes out, and Alex is like, we're donesies, and Ella or Vivi, whichever one it is just like, I need to go, and what's happening? And Alex is like, we're gone, bye bitch, and Gavin is just standing there with the, this was a mistake.
Yeah. Alex is just like, tell my mother something happened to me, I'm
Oh
going
yeah,
to bed.
Alex is like, I'm angsting right now, and she walks the fuck off, and the sidekick is just like, that was weird. Meanwhile, when Alex is walking to her room, she passes through the orangery, and of course, it's the middle of the night at a party, and she's in a place where nobody is supposed to be, so what does she see / hear? The spy! The spy! The spy! Who is, dun dun dun, Lucian. It's Lucian. Gavin's uncle. Nobody is fucking surprised here. His name is Lucian. They're like, it's time for murder, and she's like, time for me to go! And she's like, gotta run away, gotta run away. And she's like running away, and then she runs into somebody, you're like, time for her to die! And then it's only Freddie, and Freddie's like, what's going on? And she's like, I have to go, Freddie. And Freddie's like, where? What's wrong? And she's like, I have to find Gavin. And Freddie's first thought is immediately like, what did he do? And I'm just like,
I love him.
She's like, no, it's nothing bad. Find my only 2 friends in the whole wide world, find them, and tell them that if I'm not back in 45 minutes, Vivi needs to go to her dad and like send off alerts. And he's like, what's happening? And
She's just like, shh,
no time. goes off and she runs over to Gavin's house because it's right next door.
She literally climbs through the window. She sees the Baron, the French Baron, looking through his window.
Right, and she's like, the French Baron's here to kill him!
Gavin is in there and makes noise, and the French Baron, like, runs away, I'm pretty sure.
Alex is in his flower bed, and she's like, help me up! So he pulls her inside, there's a conversation, and, like, it's not about the fact that his uncle is the spy and killed Gavin's father. It's about a kiss and their romantic feelings because priorities.
Yeah, because he like interrupts her and he's just like, I'm sorry, I never should have said kissing you was a mistake.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a quote because it's a bomb-ass quote. He says, you see, I have rather a lot to say. I'm sorry that I hurt you earlier. I never meant for you to believe that I think kissing you was a mistake. In fact, if you asked me what I've wanted more than anything in the last week, what I want more than anything right now, I would answer, without question, not that I want to find the burglar who ransacked my home, not that I want to know the truth about my father's death, but that I want you. And then they kiss, because how could you not? This man literally says, I don't care that my house was robbed, I don't care that my father was definitely, for sure, he's murdered. I wanna kiss you. And she's like, oh, hey, I didn't come here for this.
I'm so glad you believe me about the spy being out to kill you, your uncle. And she just lays it out. She just drops that
it's his uncle, and he's like,
what?
Excuse me? And here's another line. He's like, you need to go. And he says, I have heard what you have to say, Alex. You needn't repeat it. I encourage you to leave and be quick about it. I prefer that my uncle's character be the only one maligned this evening. And you're like, okay, bitch.
He just, like, turns around and lets her drop out of the window by herself.
She has to sneak back to her room in a ruined dress, and her friends are like, what happened? You told Freddie to literally call the most important people in if you weren't found. And Alex is like, no time to explain. I need to have a mental breakdown and cry myself to sleep. Just make up an excuse to my mom. And they're like, okay, Alex.
Then they make up an excuse, but they don't tell her what that excuse is.
So then of course Ella and Vivi were like, please explain what happened. Why did you have us lie so many times? And Alex is like, so you know how Gavin is without a father now. And Ella and Vivi are like, yeah, of course. We know all this.
He was murdered.
He was murdered. And they're like, gasp, what? And Alex is like, also he kissed me again. Gasp, what? Explain all of it. And Alex is like, so the murderer is his uncle and he doesn't believe me. And Vivi is like, do you love him? And Alex is like, he doesn't believe in me. Vivi is like, but do you love him?
And Alex is just like, I don't know, bitch. I'm 17.
When she wakes up in the morning and her mom
is like, how are you feeling? She's like, oh, my ankle's a lot better. And then Vivian's just like, your stomach.
And the mom was like, you hoe, I know you're not. Mom knows her for a liar.
And so she's like, because you skipped out on this, you have to go to this ball.
It's in the country. And she's like, there's a murderer out there. And he has to be found. Ella is straight up like, here's how we find the murderer. And Vivi is like, here's how we call the cops. That's how it goes.
True.
That's how it goes. Ella's like, murderer, Vivi, cops. Vivi convinces Alex to go to the dads, but then the dads are gone, so Alex is like, natural conclusion. We're pulling off a B&E because they want to go to Gavin's house and find out what the spy was looking for. Get there, and they make up a really hilarious excuse to be there. They get past the butler, they're looking through the study, and of course they're like, we haven't found anything, there's nothing here. And then dun dun dun, Alex finds
and then she's explaining to them, and she's excited, and she's like, oh my god.
And then dun dun dun,
the stack of books that they put by the door so that they would hear them fall, so that they knew somebody was coming.
It falls
over, and it's the uncle.
And the girls are like, oh, we're here to borrow some books.
I want to take these books. And Ella and Vivi leave, and she's like the last one in the room. And then the uncle is just like, I know you were in the orangery.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, cool, time to go, bye. And he
like
threatens her.
Straight up threatens her.
He's like, I will murder you too. You and your friends. It's like, her father's in charge of the War Office. Lucian's not thinking, straight up not thinking, which is why he doesn't work as a villain, by the way.
Well, no, what MacLean does really well is, like, in the cutbacks between where you see, from his perspective, the spy's perspective, you see him becoming more deranged.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I did a murder. That's a crime.
Then she hightails it out of there. They're going to the country estate for the party, and internally she's like, so,
We found the clue. We
But
have
he
to go.
threatens to kill everyone I love.
So she's
Even
having-
though he'll probably already do that. And at this time, she's like, I am also in love with Gavin.
They get to the country house,
Who'll be there?
but Gavin.
Because that he'll be everywhere.
She wants to have this conversation with him, but there isn't really a point in
'cause
time where
there's
they
a
can.
dinner.
And so he's like walking her up to her bedroom door, and she just like yanks him into her room, and then she's just like, okay, I'm stuck here now because I can't be seen to be coming out of your room. What is it that
Yeah.
you want?
And so then she's like, your uncle is the spy. If we're gonna have a relationship, you have to believe in
And
me.
then he's like, I do. And he's just like, promise me you won't do anything stupid. And then she's like, I'm a dumb bitch, but yes.
She gives him the
tells
clue.
him.
At this point, is he like, oh yeah, by the way, I've been working with the War Office this whole time. Meanwhile, she's like, but I figured it out in literally 2 days. Sure. To be fair, she literally overheard the murderer. He confesses all this, and it's kind of like, you shouldn't have treated her like she was a dumb bitch. Okay. They kiss. Next morning, I think he spends the night and then he sneaks out or some shit.
Yeah, he
it's
sneaks out in
cute.
the morning. So they've finished the conversation, all the seriousness aside.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. He's like, don't be a dumb bitch. And she's like, you don't be a dumb bitch. And he's like, I don't want the person I love to die. And she's like, well, I don't want the person I love to die. He's like, do you not think we should take this time to consider the minor fact that we seem to be in love? Her eyes widened slightly at the words, and she played the last moments of their conversation over in her head. We are in love. He met her gaze, not letting her look away as he spoke. I appear to have missed my meaning. Allow me to repeat myself more plainly. I love you, Alex. Then Alex is like, I love you too. And he literally says, capital. And he goes off. He's like, capital. You better hope he does more in the bedroom. He goes off. We go back to Lucian being a psycho who's like, I gotta get to them. They're getting too close. I can stage another murder at the family estate. It doesn't make sense. It's bad.
Because he's losing his mind.
He is losing his mind, or he's a bad villain.
No, he's losing his mind. I think he's a good villain.
He's a bad villain. We have Lucian being a psycho, and then it's the next morning, it's breakfast. Alex is eating with the girls, and she's like, we're in love, and also we
We need to talk to our dads.
They're talking about the clue, then they're like, it's probably gonna be over at the Blackmore estate. The uncle is, and the Baron, both of them, twosies, are coming over to the estate because they've been invited to the party, and they're expected at any moment, and Alex is like, oh, cool.
He's gonna murder Gavin. So
I
she
need to go.
books it.
First thing she does though is she finds the clue. She goes to Gavin's study
And she's like, I found it!
And who's standing there but Lucian with a gun in the study?
Well, no, it's pointed at Gavin.
And Lucian is like, oh, she
Thank
has
you.
the clue.
He points it at her, and she's like, no. And then she's like, really? And he points it at Gavin again, and she's like, okay, here it
I
is.
give you everything. She gives it, and Gavin is like, you promise not to be the dumb bitch.
She's like, but I had dumb bitch juice for breakfast.
Lucian goes on with this whole spiel because Gavin is like, why? Why did you murder my father?
And Lucian's just like, he had everything, and I had nothing. And then when he dies, it all goes to you.
And he's
because that's
becoming-
how it literally happens.
Yeah, it
That's-
works like that.
It's not a
nothing
surprise.
special, Lucian. You don't get an exception.
He's just crazy.
He's bonkers.
In Yonkers.
While he's having this rant,
He's gotten a hold of her, and then like he's starting to rant, and he's starting to wave the gun
and
around.
she's like, my chance.
and she stomps the shit out of his
And
foot.
then Gavin is like, my time is also now because she's being a dumb bitch, and he like vaults over the desk and he like
Right.
attacks the uncle, and then there's a lot of activity because then the door is thrust open, and who is here but
the Baron,
her father,
Alex's dad,
and
then
Vivi's dad.
Vivi's dad.
and I think her brother, Alex's
Yeah.
brother, oldest brother, and they're all like, whoo, time to unhand this man, and they're like,
And also like a sheriff or somebody.
I'll
It's just-
take Lucian down. She's like, bitch, we already had it handled, but they're like, did you? Because he had a gun.
And then somebody's just like, I think his foot's broken, and Alex is like, good.
Her and Gavin have a moment where they're like, we were so scared, and her dad is like, what's happening? Yeah, that's his emotional state of being. Just shook. And they're like, we're gonna handle this, and we'll talk to you later, Alex, because we're gonna have a grown-up conversation.
And you're not a part of it, even though you solved 90% of the mystery.
Yeah.
So
they send her away.
So she has to go to the ball, pretend everything is normal. At the end of the ball, she's pacing the room with Ella and Vivi, and she's like, what's going on?
Then her brother enters the room and she's like, William, tell me what's happening. And William is like, do I need to? Because you didn't share anything with me. So it's funny to see how the tables have turned, and Alex is like, you dumb whore. I will murder you.
Will is just like, well, Gavin's having a conversation with Dad.
Right.
Will is just like getting comfy in a chair. Vivi and Ella are just like, I'm tired, let's go. And he's just like, I'm perfectly comfortable here. And she's just like, won't you escort two ladies to their bedrooms? And he's just like, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
And then they're like, get up.
He leaves, and it's the conversation between Gavin and Alex. And essentially she's like, what did you say to my father? Gavin is like, I proposed to you, even though you weren't present.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, I want a long engagement.
And he's like, why? And she goes, because I feel like it'll be
An adventure.
And then it fucking ends.
Okay, so yeah, that is a little bit anticlimactic. Actually, it's really sweet.
It is sweet, but all of it happens at once. I stand by what I said.
It's very fast paced and then it's over. What is there is very sweet. I love how much he adores her, and
That
that's
is true.
always
That's cute.
one of the best characteristics in male love interest.
I stand by what I said. I think this plot is pretty two-dimensional. It's cute, it's sweet, it's fluffy. Don't think too hard, otherwise you can't read it. Enjoy it if you're 13. If not, we will give you better books. Do you stand by what you said?
I stand by what I said. I think it's good for what it is, and it's, you know, it's a good jumping off point. Enjoyed it when I read it.
We're gonna leave it there.
Alrighty. And
This has been our review for the season.
by Sarah MacLean.
Thank you for sticking with us, because it was a mess.
It's now over.
Thank God. Bye.